Hi. We got a question from Matt asking, how do you get out of body whenever you want? And for me, the biggest thing is that I have changed the definition for myself of what an out of body experience is. And while it might not fit many people's standards, for me, it's actually helping out. So what I mean is that, again, a lot of people think that getting out of body is your physical body falling asleep and your consciousness will lift up from your physical body, and then you're going to be in your bedroom or any other place you're sleeping at, and then you're going to see your physical body, and then you can fly around in the closed space and maybe start flying, walking around and doing something, and that's not out of body experience. For me, I changed it by looking at it just conscious and shifting, putting my perspective, my point of view somewhere else, and just trying to get that perception and full-blown experience that I get with the physical body. And for me, it's easier because I have visuals. I'm telling you, anyone that has visuals, and by that I mean, let's say you can close your eyes and imagine an apple, or you can have your eyes open and in your hand, you're going to imagine an apple. If you see it, you see the little colors, if it's red or has a bit of yellow or greenish. If it's, you can turn it around and feel it, weight it, like maybe, I don't know, like taste it, bite it, so you feel the taste, you think of a lemon and all of a sudden you feel the sourness in your mouth, then you're really good. If you don't have any of that going, like you get what I'm talking about, you get the idea, but you close your eyes and it's pitch black, you try to see the apple and all you see is your hand. Well, then what I am doing might not work for you. And it takes a whole lot of work, a whole lot of practice with yourself, with your beliefs. And there's tons of things that might get in the way, tons of reasons why. And just main one for some people will be, is that they came here on Earth for a certain reason, or however you got here. People will have various purposes and goals in life that visuals will get in the way of. For example, you might have like that amazing knowingness. You think of something, you look at the concepts, you look at life, and you have this knowingness about the subject, about whatever is going on. And with that, you're good. You might have the audience, like the audio where you hear things and that's good for you. But whatever you're doing in life, if you would have visuals, for example, you're doing the spiritual work and you're going to deal with entities. So while you might not see them, you can talk to them. You get the telepathic communication, you can hear them, or again, get the knowingness from what they're saying. That is an amazing thing. It should be very valued. But if you were able to see it and see how creepy they look like, if you went out of your room into the world and were in a group of people and saw hundreds of thousands of entities lurking around people with scary faces, you would not want to get out. So people who have visuals and open up to a certain level to see what's out there might get creeped out so much they would not want to be around anyone. And that alone is like, no, I don't want to see any of that shit. It's too much. Others, on the other hand, will see visuals so great that they can move into that other world, other reality they're connecting to, and never come back here. And whatever goal you had here, where you came here to teach, to solve some of this stuff, to help out some people, to guide and do whatever, well, if you can see stuff and you move your consciousness, you shift, you're never going to come back here because the world out there is much better. And so that alone is like, no, I have to do my thing. It might be a choice, it might be various beliefs, but you will block it because you know that having visuals will get in the way. So those are just two out of possibly millions of reasons why you might not have visuals. But that aside, having visuals is what really helps. And for me, I've had it since I was a kid, maybe a bit too much, but at the same time, it's kind of like from being a baby up until now, experiencing all kinds of craziness, my confront for what I can see, where it is nice and beautiful or gruesome as can be in tons of detail, I'm like, yeah, that's usual. That's my everyday life. Like, you're not going to surprise me there. So when I have those experiences, getting out of body becomes very easy, especially having the perception, like not thinking, not having your chattering head, but perceiving the world. Like I'm in my senses a lot. I'm connected to those. So let's say I go for a walk with my dog, and for me, like what I smell around me, what I feel, what I hear, what I see, and everything else, all those senses are way more active than usual. And that really helps. But since I get to experience those, when I try to shift my consciousness, I will try to use those senses as a muscle. It's a workout. You have to put some work in. And basically, getting to the point, how do I do it? So for me, it's basically choosing the location. Where would I like to be? Whether it is some picture I have seen online, whether it is real or some fantasy, some paintings, someone just drew it, amazing artists, tons of things that can catch your attention. Or it might have been something that I have dreamed of. Let's say physical body falls asleep, my consciousness ends up in another place. Whether it is a dream, lucid dream, or some other place, I see various worlds. You might have seen them too. It might be different from this reality. I like to go different places. And I pick something I'm comfortable with. For me, the biggest thing is forests, mountains, lakes, anything around water and trees and more into nature. I love that kind of setting. Others might like Hawaiian, Californian beach or some other like beach that you like, Philippines and maybe China or like some other locations that you have seen around the world and photos and movies that might have captured your attention, or you have read in books. For example, like Lord of the Rings, Hobbits, and The Shire, that might catch your attention. The Mordor, or let's say Game of Thrones, and you pick Westeros or some other location, like yeah, whatever. I don't remember those. Like, so various places that catch your attention, and you can see the details. As in tons of little things that you can focus on. It's important. For me, that is important because when I pick a location, I'm gonna, let's say, close my eyes, I feel better, and I have like, I don't know, like more focus when I close my eyes. So I close my eyes, I relax, like take a few deep breaths, and I start focusing on that location. So for me, it would be like, okay, like just a few deep breaths, and I put my attention into some nice place. For example, there's some trees, like not necessarily a forest, but like plenty of trees. And then, my English is not the best, so I will not know the names or the words to describe it at best, which sucks because I would love to make a video where I pick, like, let's say, a description of a certain location, and I would tell you in every single detail, guiding step by step as a little journey as we travel somewhere, a 10-minute audio with guidance of possible description of a location where you can practice little steps that would help you get out of body or consciousness shift. Anyway, so let's say trees, and I would pick what kind, and then there's mountains in the distance, there's a river close by, maybe a village with a few people and animals around and grass, and it's all green, but it's not too hot, and daytime, maybe evening, maybe dusk, and I will just choose those. But now that I have a certain description, or I have seen a photo where like, oh, I like that location, or not even a photo, you might have watched a movie, you might have played a video game, watched an anime, something, and you like that place and you want to go there, that's perfect. Like just pick something, one thing that you feel very connected to, that you like or would like to experience. And with that, putting your attention there into that world, not necessarily trying to fall asleep and get out of body while practicing tons of techniques, but no, just daydream, visualize, imagine, fantasize about. And basically you close your eyes, or however it is better for you to visualize things, and you put your attention into that location. You look around. You might have a body, you might not, it doesn't matter, or it does to you. And just look around, left and right, and what's in front of you. Look at your feet if you have them. Are you wearing something? Are you barefooted? Do you have shoes on? Barefooted. Really? Well, what are you standing on? Is it grass or dirt? It's grass. Well, how does it feel like standing on the grass? Well, it's kind of like cool and very nice, like soft. And try taking a few steps. What does it feel like? And you take a few steps and like, oh, like I think I just stepped on a rock. It's not like hurting my feet, but I can definitely feel that little hard rock, and it's nice. It's like a little massage on my feet. Okay, well, lift your head up. Look around. There's a tree next to you. Walk close to it. As you walk close to the tree, touch the bark. What does it feel like? And you focus on those senses. You practice the things you do as a kid, trying to experience the world. Well, what's a table? Well, this is a table. And you point at it and you try to look at it. You try to understand what a table is, what a chair is. You try to get a definition into your head. And the way we learn about this reality or what we experience here as a physical human body, we try to get that experience there. But like literally perception, what you see, what you hear, you stand in that world. Are there any birds chirping or singing? Are there any animals making sounds? Are there people having conversation? Yeah, people are talking about something. What are they talking about? What kind of language? And they sound in gibberish, but do you understand? Yeah, you tune in and telepathically you pick up on what they're talking about. So all of a sudden you gather this knowledge. Okay, well, walk around and find out what's the story about this place? What do people tell you about this place? Like, what is this like location? What have they been doing? What's the history of whatever? Is there anything going on lately? What are some of the gossips? And you ask those things, you get the answers, but you don't try to ask yourself, is it real or is it not? Is it my imagination? Am I making it all up? Is it like my mind or what? You drop it, make it all like, don't even worry about it. Call it my imagination, just go with it. But as you put yourself, your point of view, your consciousness in another location, for me, it's like very weird because like I've most of my life been stuck. Well, like I haven't traveled much. So Lithuania is all I know and mainly just my little town, Vilnius, and that's it. But being able to travel to America, California, and specifically LAX airport, I don't know, for me, it's like one of those weird but amazing experiences where like, oh my God, there are people out there. Like over here, you see like 100 or something, and now there are like so many people. Holy cow. And then leaving the airport, the smell of California, and just it's so different. So for me, it was like the whole new experience here on Earth that whenever I would put my attention to that location, I can literally walk around. I can look around and get back to that, but not necessarily to the point where I was, but any time of the day, look around the details. And whether you're trying to explore and connect to this world or any other location, you allow yourself to do that. And one of the best things you can probably do while you are imagining and visualizing all of that is think of a person that makes you feel really good. And whether they are alive or not, whether it is someone you want to meet or you have known of, heard of, and wanted to talk to, you invite that person, that being, and specifically focus onto their essence. For example, it might have been your past life relative, the one that has guided you for quite a while, that knew who you are, your goals, your other past lives, your history. And that person is always there to support you, to help you connect to your true self, awaken some of your abilities, or become aware of certain things that you need to be aware of. And invite that person, invite that being, but focusing on their essence, not necessarily the looks or the name, because that is meaningless because it can be sort of faked and stolen. But the essence, no way. You're going to know who it is. And so describing a being by the essence is like you feel whole with them. You feel very comfortable. You feel loved and connected to, and you feel like you can be yourself. And you can talk about anything. They know you. You've been, like knowing each other for a while. And whatever connects you, like where it is like lovers or your teacher or your friend, anything. But that essence of the being, and invite them into that space you are visualizing and creating. And with that, you can literally have a conversation. Nothing too hard, but something that would help you. And some of the questions I like to ask, and I've learned this from Tony Robbins, is that, hey, and you address them if they have a name. Is there anything that I need to know? And you get this answer. Where you hear it, where it's in your head, and you just have this thought, like, yeah. And then another question, is there anything I need to remember? Is there anything I need to focus on? And, like whatever you're curious about, you can ask those things like, hey, well, do you know anything about my past life in the Andromeda galaxy? What was I doing before coming on Earth? Uh, who was I to you when I was not on Earth? And whatever you're curious about yourself, about life out there, ask those questions, because it's very important to have those conversations and see what you get. Because eventually you're tuning into the consciousness, whether it is someone else's or yours, and it's all yours, but it really depends how you look at it, whatever makes you feel comfortable, whatever your belief system is. And just literally, this out of body experience is just like shifting consciousness. You are fully awake and prepared, like, okay, just sitting down or laying down, you get comfortable in the space where no one's going to interrupt. You close your eyes, you breathe, you relax, and just put your attention in the location that makes you feel good. And literally practice your perception. All the senses you have here, practice them there. Try to like, okay, well, I need to see something. And even all those perceptions you have, make it a workout. See something in the distance. See something close to you. Look at your hands. What do they look like? Look at your feet. Can you look at your nose? And like various things, little exercises of what you need to see. And then listen to something. What's something you can hear in the far distance? What's something you hear close by? Can you hear yourself clapping your hands? Can you hear the finger snap? Can you hear your feet moving the grass, and what does it sound like? Can you hear the trees in the distance? The wind, the leaves falling on the ground, the wind, like, like moving the waves in the distance, all those little things. And then smells. Can you smell something? The flowers near you, the lake. Can you smell people cooking something over the distance? Oh, wow, that stew is amazing. Let's just go there. And then someone just started playing banjo. Heck yeah. Let's go talk to them. And, like little things, those details, but you start with the practice. Pick a scenery, a location. It doesn't have to be an endless, massive world. Just a little location that makes you feel comfortable, where you can explore and practice your senses. And as you practice your senses, you're practicing getting your awareness and attention away from this physical body and into another location. And as you can experience it, more and more of your consciousness and focus from here moves to another place. And that is all you need. It's a practice. You don't need to fall asleep to have your consciousness leave. You can be fully awake right here, right now, and simply allow yourself to daydream, to imagine, to fantasize, whatever you want to call it. But all you're doing is putting your attention, your point of view somewhere else, and allowing yourself to experience the perception from that point of view. Because this is how we understand life. This is what we call real. All those senses, the electrical signals we get from what we feel, see, hear, and all the stuff, what we taste, that's what reality is to us. And if you can experience reality in another location, knowing that your physical body is here, but you're out there and you can taste that stuff, and oh my God, it's freaking real. Like if you can get to that point, that's what I would call out-of-body experience. The more your attention and point of views in their location, you go there. And literally having conversations with anyone, whether it is entities, past life relatives, someone you have lost, anything you can think of, you do, you try, you practice. And for me, one thing is like doing this while being fully awake. When I'm like, okay, well, people want me to scan something, want me to look at their life, like lifetimes, Akashic records and other things, sure, let's go with that. And I tell them, and like people are like, oh my God, is this what an Arab psychic told me as well? And like, cool, like I just tune into that stuff. And the thing to remember is that everything is true. Where someone tells you this story, and this story, and they're all different, they are real and they're true. Because there are so many truths out there that it just simply matters what you believe in. And just go with that. But like for me, the biggest thing is that I have visuals and it really, really helps. And two is that I am dropping my weird case about what is real. I have to define it for myself, and it has to be empowering. And the rest is like, don't question yourself. Just allow it. Allow it to be there. Accept it. Just an experience. You can even label it my imagination and just go with that. If that makes you feel better, go with that. But the most amazing thing is that once you're practicing this, the answers you're going to get, the experiences, they're freaking amazing, because you start bringing back knowledge, information, skills, and other things. And like, while I'm not pro, but it's all like really depends on what you focus on and what you want to get out of it. For me, it's more like understanding things, learning about other beings and what's out there, and sort of like just connecting to stuff. That's what I care about, connecting the dots. And, like, I have a picture for myself. It's not full, it's not finished, but just a little bit of the puzzle. I'm like, oh, okay, like this is a bit more clear. But that's how I do it. Like this whole getting out of body at will, it's just shift your point of view, your attention, your consciousness into another location. And the rest, like getting out of body, yeah, that's like, if you want to see yourself lift, and that's another thing, go with that. But I think all of those techniques and definitions are in a way limiting us, because eventually an out-of-body experience, as you look at it, like you lifting up and experiencing everything else, would be all focused on those senses. And if you could experience all those senses and perceptions without having to fall asleep, you can totally get it. Like literally sitting here, there's this mock-up technique where you can be sitting and relaxing, and you create another body of yours behind you. And you move your attention, your point of view to that body, and you look at yourself from behind. So you literally have your physical body fully awake, aware, conscious right here, but you create another point of yourself behind you, and you try to see yourself from behind. And the funny thing is, for those that have visuals and those that practice this muscle, because it's not a one-day thing, and like boom, you're just gonna start seeing it and it's gonna be like amazing. Like for some people, yeah, it's gonna be easy as fuck. Others, if they don't have visuals, if they're practicing, if they get a little bit here and there, it's like working out a muscle. It's not an overnight success. You have to like every day put in the work and try out tons of other things and combine it and keep on working it. It's like there's a lot of details to it. But to that technique where you put yourself behind you, where I can have another part of me on the couch or in the corridor, and I will have my consciousness moving to those different aspects and looking at myself from different point of views. But what I'm doing is like, I'm getting my attention out of this physical body. And the more I can be present and aware in another location, in another point of view, and not here, the more I'm pulling myself out. And then with that, you can start exploring this physical world. Like, okay, you see yourself in this room. You see yourself blabbing your mouth or sitting around doing something from another point of view. What happens if you do the split screen? Send two different point of views at the same time, like by location. One of you is looking at the screen here, the other one's of you is like in the kitchen. Can you do that? Well, yeah, kind of ish. And you just like try exploring, be creative and stuff. But I think like that's the biggest thing for me. Just like literally a lot of those definitions and the way we try to understand things at the same time might be limiting by what we've read about it, what we've heard, and we try to experience exactly the same things we have read and have heard about. Like, oh, out-of-body experience. I need to lift out of my body and see my physical body fall, like being asleep while I'm in my room floating. And by that, having the standard basic default definition, we're trying to achieve that, while a lot of people, when they get out of body, they're not even going to be on Earth or anyone around here. They're going to be in the void. They're going to be in other locations. And from there on, you start having creation and other things. So if we're trying to put ourselves in a cage of this is what I have to experience, while you're literally out somewhere else and you don't want to come back here, most people will not even remember the experiences, or, like tons of things can happen. And if we give ourselves more freedom, like just pick your own thing and try to get your senses, your perception out there more and more, so that it could be like literally you're sitting here physically, fully awake, conscious, aware, but you're able to be at the sea and hear the sea waves and hear the seagulls like and everything else and like all those details. If you can get that, you're shifting consciousness. That's all you need, and just practice that. So really, it all depends on how you define things. But for me, this is what helps me out the most. Like just literally shifting my consciousness. And the more I can be out there, the more I'm disconnected from this body. So that's my thing. Hopefully it gives you some ideas. And if I get a better understanding of English language, I think it would be fun to, like, let's say, get a group of people and practice, just pick a location where we agree to a location as a group, or I just pick something out and like, okay, well, everybody close your eyes, relax, and let's go. And like step by step, we do the guided little thing while people practice feeling those things. Like if anyone's interested, could definitely try. Good luck with me with my English, but we'll see. Anyway, you get the idea, I hope, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.